Joining us now is Kurt Helin. Kurt, how are you?
I'm doing good.
There we go.
I don't know if I don't know if I'm Vegas good. I don't know if I'm Utah State good, but I'm good.
Nice. I like it. Hey, they're just going right out and saying, yeah, it's going to be a governor's meeting next week. They will explore adding expansion teams exclusively in Las Vegas and Seattle. So it's not like, hey, you know what, we're going to open things up, let everybody else jump in board here, and let's see where we go. No, it's actually like, nope, we're going to actually focus in on Seattle. We're going to focus in on Las Vegas, and they expect proposals in the $7 to $10 billion range. And when you see that number, Kurt, that's why I got to imagine a lot of NBA owners and governors are like, yeah, it's time to look at these two cities for sure.
Those two cities were always at the front of the list. I mean, there were other cities, Louisville, Mexico City, a few others that wanted to get in the mix. Seattle was always going to get a team to right a previous wrong. And then it was kind of a bidding war, but Vegas has proven a very viable. I heard you earlier right before I came on talking about like how this, Vegas was the third rail for a while, right? Like nobody could go near it. And now it's proven viable. Not only has the NBA been there with Summer League, and the WNBA Aces have done really well there and draw really well there. But look, the Knights, the Golden Knights in NHL have thrived there. The Raiders draw good crowds, even if half that crowd is visiting fans from the other team. And they it's like it's proven. Now, obviously, the A's are going to be there. There will be a baseball team. That stadium, if you go over Vegas, you can see it under construction now. But you nailed it. It's about the money. Look, these owners are giving up equity, right? Like they are. You buy an NBA team, you are 1/30th an owner of the league. That's about to be 1/32nd. That means a little less money in the annual TV revenue, et cetera. And it's worth it to them. Just back of the napkin math on this, if those, the expansion fees, like you said, between 7 and 10, they're saying to make the math easy, it's 7.5. That's 15 for the two. Each team gets $500,000 or $500 million, $500 million, $500 million. And by the way the CBA is set up, they don't share that. That is $500 million straight to the owner's bottom line. That doesn't go anywhere else. Now, every one of those owners will do, not every, most of those owners will do hey, we're going to build a new practice facility or do some upgrade, or, they're going to make a very public reinvestment in some fashion, but they're going to pocket a chunk of that, right? Like that's just money straight to their bottom line. And the money has gotten so big with those fees that it just becomes for a long time, those owners were opposed because it just wasn't worth it to give up the TV revenue. Now they're just kind of like, hey, it's going to be worth it with this expansion fee. And also, those are two really good, Seattle in particular, these are really big, good markets that should help the league bring in more revenue.
It's hard to believe that in 2020, I want to say, October of 20 or October of 21, Ryan Smith bought the Jazz for just a hair under $2 billion. And now you're seeing expansion fees in Vegas and Seattle could be anywhere in the range of $7 to $10 billion. If you got, the old joke, it takes money to make money. Well, if you got money, now would be the time to be parking it in the NBA, it seems like.
Or professional sports in general, maybe not everyone, but like in general, those whether it's NHL or NFL or whatever, like all those fees have gone up. All those, or the value of those teams and the value of the leagues has gone up as they have become. I don't want to say, especially with certain sports in certain cities, and the NFL in a lot of cities. They're cultural touchstones, right? Like you're a Cleveland Browns fan. There's this whole identity that goes with being a Cleveland Browns fan. But in a world where getting people to watch live television and to join in one place to watch something is increasingly difficult, and that meaning it's increasingly difficult for, media to monetize, sports still draws like nobody else's business, right? And it still gets everybody watching stuff at one time, and we'll get a lot of that this week, and that makes it worth it because you can just sell it to advertisers.
I was when I was down in Vegas, I was talking to some people down there, and I asked if they would just throw an NBA team in the T-Mobile, and they said no. They're going to build a new arena for that too.
Yeah, no, that's long. They might spend a year or two there because this is coming on online quickly, and they may not have a choice. Actually, they wouldn't have a choice.
Yeah.
And that building is perfectly good, frankly. But the plan is for whoever the ownership group is, and there's a couple lined up. They want to do what the Dallas owners kind of want to do with theirs, which is farther down the strip. They're going to build a new arena that is a foot traffic driver for their new casino resort, right? Like they're going to build a whole new casino resort and use that arena with both the NBA games and then I assume some concerts and whatever else, whatever else comes, Disney on Ice or whatever else comes to town to drive traffic there. And that's the plan. It's going to be a new arena where will get built, wherever that is down the strip.
So let's take the money out of it because money's going to drive everything for sure. And just talk about the quality of what this means to the league. Is there enough talent to go around to support 32 quality teams, or will there be a dilution of talent?
There will be a dilution for a while. I think the quality is higher right now just because of the international play. 25% of the league, I believe it is this year, of the players have international roots. So you're broadening the pool in that sense. But look, we like to celebrate, I guess is the word I'm looking for. We like to celebrate Jordan's, 72 win Bulls. Like, that's expansion, baby. Like that was a weaker league. Like there was some other stuff going on around there that allowed them to get kind of right where they wanted to be. And I don't want to take anything away from that team. They won 72 games and a championship, but there will be a dilution. There will be some separation. And it will take the way it's going to be set up. Those teams there'll be a draft and they'll be able to get some guys, but it's going to take some time to build. They're probably not going to be allowed to get either number one pick or the top 3 picks or something for the first couple of years. Like there's going to be all sorts of protections put in so that it's going to be a slower build for those teams.
So they won't
go. Let's put it this way: I can say they're not going to be the Golden Knights.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. The NHL did them a lot of favors for sure in getting them off the ground in a hurry. So is 80 the new 50 when it comes to scoring in the NBA with Bam Adebayo doing it now? Is a lot of people going to be shooting for that number?
Yeah, wait for that expansion year. Yeah, no, it's funny that of all the guys, it's Bam too. It's just. I mean, I was in crypto that night. I was at the Laker Timberwolves game that happened to be going on that night. And we were joking, like, if you, before the season, said list 100 players who could score 80 points in a game, I wouldn't have had Bam on it. He probably would have been 4th, maybe 5th on his own team. He just wouldn't have been close. But yeah, now you're going to see people. You got to push for it. Like that's going to be the interesting part of that. There have been games, even with Luka, with others, where, man, you've got 50 whatever after 3 quarters, and your team's up 20, and do you want to go for it? Because the Heat left him in and pushed and went for this. Is another team willing to do that? Is there a player who's going to push his team to do that? That's to me going to be the interesting part because there's a few guys, Luka leading that list, who are fully capable of doing it, but I don't know how many teams and how many coaches would be willing to do that at certain points of the year where Miami's on a roll actually, but like they were just kind of like, hey man, when this season's done, nobody's going to talk about our first round exit and solid play from the playoffs. The top of the highlight reel is going to be 83. Let's go get this.
How much of the backlash was just the way he did it, or is it the people with the memory of Kobe and they don't want Bam in the same sentence with Kobe? I mean, it was bad basketball. The final 5 minutes, it was just it was awful. But But then again, if I'm him, I'm doing everything I can to get there, so I can't really blame him. But it didn't feel like it was overly good for the league.
I think some of that pushback was was the two things you mentioned, that it was manufactured at the end. Let's not kid ourselves, right? Like that was a manufactured number at a certain point. And the other part of it, and I saw this one firsthand just being in crypto that night, there was some already Kobe pushback from the Laker partisans who were like, Kobe's was authentic, which, by the way, pretty much the same. I don't want to say the same thing the last 5 minutes, but they were up 20. They left him in. Like he went after the number. He was shooting free throws with 19 seconds left, up 20. But there's a certain level of it's Kobe, and it's a little more sacred. And Bam is. It is a little weird to see Bam in between Wilt and Kobe on the list, man.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Speaking of expansion, the league also is taking bids for the Europe League.
Yep.
Is there a lot of money that can be generated over there?
Long term, they hope so. It's less short term. The expansion fees over there are going to be under $1 billion, right? I think well under. And I'm not quite sure how that's going to work out with the existing. They're bringing in a handful of existing teams into that program, so I don't think those teams necessarily have to buy in the same way as some of the ones that might be created in Manchester and some other places, and Rome. And all that said, what they see is the long term there. That the league is better at making money than Europe has been at this, and the league is going to come in and push for better arenas to maximize that money, better TV deals, and they just think there's a lot of money left on the table that they're going to be able to generate. And the owners love this because it's literally a windfall without having to give up any equity or do anything, really. Like there's almost no effort on their part, and more money comes in. So that one has like 100% backing of the owners.
So, in the world of the draft, do you feel like the kid from Darren Peterson is? I mean, where is he and AJ DeBonsa in terms of 1 and 2 now amongst general managers? Talking to people around the league and stuff, it really depends on who gets that number 1 pick. And DeBonsa has the advantage of he's just taller, right? And he's been healthy and he's shown that competitive fire. But Peterson still has a lot of big fans around the league. So it's going to come down, two things. It's going to come down to the medical reports that come out of the NBA draft combine. Even if you don't participate in the combine now, you have to go through a full medical. There's a lot of people with questions about what exactly is going on with the cramping. What can we know? How can we prevent this from being a long-term issue? And as long as they believe it's not, then it's really a matter of preference, of positional preference, size preference, and what they believe these players can be long-term. I have AJ on top of the mock draft I did for NBC Sports this week, but like I said, it really depends on which one falls where. And there's even a couple of GMs, if things went weird, who might put Cameron Boozer in the top 2. Wow. I don't think he'd go first, but it's possible he'd jump one of them. Depends on the medicals. And it also just depends on who gets where, because Cameron Boozer has the highest floor of that group. Cameron Boozer is going to be a good pro. He shows all the signs. He's got everything. His floor is just so much higher that it's a low-risk play for the right GM. And if you need a big, depends on the situation and who's drafting. But if you're going somewhere that had a backcourt that was pretty set, but you wanted some front court help, it'd be tempting not to take Boozer. All right, so this is strictly just opinion of Kurt Helin's, because I know everybody's got strong opinions one way or another on Steve Kerr, but he's first ballot Hall of Famer. He's done a remarkable job at Golden State, won a bunch of championships. He is the 4th fastest coach to get to 600 wins. Only Phil Jackson, Pat Riley, and Greg Popovich did it quicker. He exceeded that of Red Auerbach. Should Steve Kerr, as a coach, be in that conversation with those guys and talked about being the best coaches in the league in the history of the league?
I would have him half a step back only because Riley and not Auerbach, but Riley and Jackson, Greg Popovich only was with one team, but that team evolved dramatically over the time he was there, right? Like, and it went from the Twin Towers of Robinson and Duncan to this kind of faster play, Tony Parker-led team. It was over that stretch. They were a very different team over different years. And I think that the fact that Riley and Jackson did it in different places with different players puts them a little ahead of Kerr, who I don't want to take anything away from him. He's been brilliant there, but he's done it with Steph Curry. And I don't know that he's going to ever coach anywhere else. He's a free agent at the end of this year. I imagine he's going to ride it out. But unlike Popovich, who kept saying, I'm going to retire when Duncan retires and then didn't, I think Kerr means it with Curry. I genuinely think when Curry steps away, he will step away from coaching probably into the front office of Golden State, but if not into their front office, into somebody's front office, and not in you've got to do the day-to-day grind job, but you get the big money consultant type of money, right? Like you're coming in to oversee this thing in a big picture way, as opposed to, you're more Danny Ainge than Austin Ainge, if that makes sense. You're kind of in that role more. And I think that's Jerry West had that role with a couple of teams. I think that's how Steve Kerr would like to do this, but I'm not saying that it probably happens with the Warriors, but when that day comes, there will be a bunch of teams knocking on the door.
Hey, we appreciate your time as always, Kurt. Thanks for hanging out with us, and let's do it again next week, shall we?
We shall, and hopefully you'll be planning your next trip somewhere else, because it's a good weekend in San Diego, and not just because of the fish tacos, although you do have to get fish tacos.
I fully plan on it, for sure.
All right.
Hey, thanks, Kurt.
All right. Take care, man.
There he is, Kurt Helin, NBC Sports, ProBasketballTalk.com.